Hey, welcome back to JG3 Reviews. My name is James, and I do fountain pens, ink, and paper. And today, it's going to be a fountain pen. Gravitas Pens and Ben Walsh sent me a couple of pens to review and to share with you. One you'll have to get a peek of toward the end of the video, and the other is their raw brass pocket fountain pen. Now, I love a good pocket pen. They're convenient. I like them to be durable. I like them to be easy on and off cap and that kind of thing. And of course, it needs to have a good nib. Well, this pen actually, I can tell you ahead of time, this pen has all those things. But why do I think that this is one of those pens that if I could only have one fountain pen, I'd be perfectly content for it to be this one? Why would I think so highly of a pocket fountain pen? Well, let's flip the camera and find out. First, you may be thinking, is he serious that this could be his only pen? Well, yes, and let me tell you a little bit of behind the scenes. So whenever I am looking over pens, I do a lot of writing with them like crazy, even if it's only a week from the time I receive the pen, although I like it to be longer than that. I do a lot of writing. Some of that is work-related, some of it's educational for myself, some of it is just, doodling and everything else, just trying to get a good feel for a pen. And I will always ask myself the question after I've done all of that, sometimes after I've already written with the pen for weeks, done the review, and I'm finishing up the editing. Maybe I'll be talking to my wife, who's very patient with me about this hobby, and I'll ask myself, could this be my only pen? Because for me, that's a good test of, is a pen really good? Is it something I can recommend to other people? Could I have just this pen and it would meet my needs for work, for writing, and for other things? And a good number of pens, actually, I would answer that question with yes. If I had to get rid of all my pens except for one, it would actually be difficult because there are a lot of good pens. We live in a good time for fountain pen enthusiasts. So there is all of that. But I don't say that to take away from what I'm saying about this pen. Let's look at the design and see what Ben has done here with it, and then we'll talk about some other things that I think about this pen, its design, and its function. So design first. First, this version is the brass pen, and so it is machined pen. He machines these pens, and he, as you can see, is a designer with, by the way, a furniture and cabinet making background, but he is a designer who appreciates minimal design. Form follows function, and he doesn't seem to get into, this is just my observation, he doesn't seem to get into gimmicky things, and I like that. I appreciate that. And so there is nothing on this pen that does not serve a function. And so it's a very simple, minimalist pen. First, you have this long cap, and we'll come back to that here in a second as to why it is as long as it is, besides just the design of the pen. It comes at both ends to a conical finial, I guess we'll call it a conical end at both ends. It is not scratchy. Some pens, they don't finish that off very well, but this does. That is well done. And just look at that, and you will see that the machining is really done to fine detail. Then we come down that long cap. You see the Gravitas logo very simply etched into the base of the cap, and then you see the body of the pen. Now, you notice that is all nice and short. The pen itself is short. I mean, it's deeply capped, and it will deeply post, but it's a short pen. But before I can show you the rest of the pen, I have to show you what is my older daughter's favorite feature of this pen. I mean, I guess it's a bonus feature. I doubt it is actually by design, but her favorite thing, it will remind you of a saying about pens, that the pen is mightier than the sword. Listen to the sound as you unsheath this fountain pen from its cap. It sounds like a sword coming out of its sheath. That ring, I love that ring. It's just a little bit of a bonus, but I like it. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll look at it posted. First, there are three things here that you absolutely have to pay attention to because it's really important to the design and function of this pen. And the first is, I would think, the most noticeable. Maybe it's not for you, but for me, the first is that nib. This is a number 6 JoWo nib. And that is why when Ben said, I want to send you a couple of pens, I said that pocket pen with the number 6 nib, because that is unusual in the pocket pen world. Normally it's a number 5, might even be a sub 5, I guess that's what you would call it, proprietary nibs and things like that. But this is a number 6 JoWo nib, and of course it is a nib unit, so that means you can swap this out with other JoWo nib units. That means there's some customizability, but there are also then great availability of nibs. Because it is a JoWo nib, you are able to get a fine, extra fine, medium, broad, stub 1.1, stub 1.5, and a fine flex nib that he's added to the lineup as well. So lots of options, and I love that. I love good options. I like a number 6 nib. I like JoWo number 6 nibs, and so I appreciate all of that. And from what I understand, he personally inspects, tunes if necessary, these nibs to be to his standard. And I will say, I've been following him on Instagram, and you need to do that. Go find Ben Walsh and Gravitas Pens on Instagram and follow, so that you can keep up with his mind is always working. He's always refining and always thinking, and that's why I really enjoy his Instagram feed, and always looking for improvements to be made to the pens. And he takes that through to the pens that he sells to his customers. And again, I'm just reviewing the pen. That's just what I have observed as a user like you and a fountain pen enthusiast in following along. The second thing after the nib is the grip section. Now, metal grip section, some of you don't like them because they're slick. Not an issue. Similar to, I was just writing yesterday a lot and cleaning out this morning my TWSBI 580, and it has the grooved grip section, and I had gotten it out to write with it because I wanted to use its JoWo stub nib, but while I had it out, I wanted to compare the two grip sections to see if there was a big difference. And there actually is, and I wish I had that pen with me, but I don't. But I'll put a picture up here. The Diamond 580 has first that chrome band, which is smooth, and then it has a small smoothed area before you get to the grooves in the grip section. I never really paid a lot of attention to it until I'd written with this and with that other mystery pen that I'll show you here in a little while, that it still has a little bit of a slick area, and it's as you get close to where the grip section curves outward. And that then means that there actually still is a little bit of a slick area. Never really paid attention until I was holding that pen the way I would hold this pen, and there was more movement than I was used to after writing with this pen so much since it's arrived. The grooves come all the way to the end, and so it gives you a really good purchase, and it just makes it a very comfortable pen to write with, provided that you're not writing with it like this. This pen is meant to be posted, and that's what you're going to need to do. Posts very securely, is well balanced in the hand, and ergonomically just fine with that pen posted, and then of course really good length, and I like it. I'm just going to unpost it just to make this a little easier to show you a couple of things. Then you get to this edge, and you'll notice that it has a chamfered edge. Probably none of us use the word chamfered all that often until, what was it, the iPhone 5, I think, that came out with chamfered edges. And that has two purposes. One, it looks good, right? It does. It looks good, and it makes the pen more aesthetically pleasing. But when you look down inside the cap, you will see that there's no need for any sort of a plastic liner like you see on some metal-capped pens. There are two reasons. One, it is a threaded cap, and that is just unusual to need that liner. And then two, it's just done so well, you just flat don't need it. But you will notice that that is also machined so that the chamfered edge here will meet up with that, and that gives it, of course, a very good seal, and it keeps you from having problems with the pen drying out. And I can attest to that. There have been no dry out issues whatsoever with this pen or that other mystery pen that I will show you later in the video. Now, you see what I'm doing, right? Anyway, let's take this off and you will find a couple of more interesting details, I am just sure. One, you will notice, I haven't talked about the threads here, so let's talk about the threads here. Very nicely done, finely machined threads. And that just is yet another testament to how well this is machined, as is, you notice this area between the threads and the section. Just look how well done that is. I love it when pens are done this well. I've had some others that I've been able to share with you where the machining itself is a feature, and that's the way this is. I didn't mention it earlier, but he does send some international shorts from Pelikan. This is Pelikan Blue, Royal Blue, that was included, and whenever there are included cartridges with a pen, I like to use those as my first ink to test in the pen. I always figure there's a reason they've chosen the ink that they've chosen, and it may be that this is just a very popular ink, so well behaved, great for every pen I've ever put this in. I've got a big bottle of Pelikan Royal Blue. You will notice here again the machining that is done for the barrel, and of course it is quite nicely done. I will tell you, that's one of the tests for how well a pen is made. Go to the parts that no one much is ever actually intended to see and see how well they've done their work. And that will tell you a lot, not just about the pen, but about the mindset, the worldview, and everything else of the company or of the pen maker. And you can see somebody cares a lot about his work, and that is much appreciated. All right, let's do a quick size comparison. Of course, you have the Gravitas, you have the ever-popular Kaweco Sport, this one well-worn in ice blue, the Pilot Petite One of my favorite actually, and then you have the Fisher Space Pen Bullet and the Kaweco Lilliput from 2022. Okay, now that they are posted, you see other ways that this pen starts to pull away from the pack, at least from my point of view. First, it is kind of a next level pen. You've got that big number 6 nib. You've got more premium materials and craftsmanship and all of that, although you can get the Kaweco Sport in a brass version and the Lilliput in a brass version that would match in terms of materials, but still would not match it in terms of this longer, more, I would say, normal writing experience, and actually a really well-balanced, larger pen that actually I just find to be, I think that makes it next level compared to even the brass Sport or the brass Lilliput, which, let's see how the pen writes. This is a medium nib, and again, this is that Pelikan Royal Blue. Flow is good on this pen. And this is not by any means a flex nib, but you can get a little bit of line variation out of that with just gentle pressure. Wouldn't push it far, but a little bit. A little bit more writing here. Now, what I like about this pen is that it does write like a full-size pen. And I said it before, but I'm going to say it again. The length of the grip section, not being a mini grip section, I really like it. that to me, because I do, even though in this pen I actually do hold it closer to the nib, I do like the option of moving back sometimes. Let's do a speed test. No problems, no skips, no nothing. Look at that, no hard starts. I've had no issues whatsoever with this pen, so that I do really appreciate as well. Now I think we really ought to do another dad joke. Ba-dum-boom. All right. You shouldn't laugh at your own dad jokes. That just makes them even worse, doesn't it? All right, let's flip that camera and let me sum up and share with you that next pen. Okay, let's sum up. And before I do, I think we have to do this one last time. I love it. Anyway, so does this still, at the end of this video, make me feel like this is a pen that I could live with if it was my only fountain pen? Yes, it has everything I look for in a pocket pen, plus some. Not only is it convenient, durable, good value, good materials, all of those things that I look for, it also offers a great writing experience above the average pocket pen because of that large number 6 nib and this really well thought out grip section, which by the way also PVD coated, and that is a tough coating. Just lots of good things about the pen. The only downside that I can think of the pen is the fact that, it's too small to accommodate a converter, but I don't even care. And I don't always care. That didn't bother me with the Lilliput either. That's the way it's going to be. I have a syringe. I have ink bottles. I can refill them. I got options. So it's just not that big a deal on that one thing. And it's not at all able to remove from the stack of reasons that I would say, is this pen worth your money, your time, and your consideration? Yes, it absolutely is. But there was one more thing. What was that other pen that we're going to look at the next time I do a pen review video? That would be the Delrin version of the Gravitas Century in this really nice frosted Delrin material. I'll explain more about why that's a really cool thing in that next video. And until then, God bless you. I look forward to seeing you down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with somebody you think might be interested in the Gravitas Pocket Pen.